Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to second PUC accountancy revision class. Students, in the previous class we have come across some of the basic concepts of partnership. We have come across interest on capital, how it is to be calculated, whether it is to be provided if there is a loss, or if there is some amount is available to pay interest on capital not full, then how we should treat that. Those things we have come across. Then we have come across the interest on drawings calculation, right? So specific period method, product method. Now in today's class let us take up the further part, that is interest on drawings, the third method, that is average period method, right? Yes. Friends, actually average period method, it is also called shortcut method, average period method or shortcut method. Here we have to apply the formula, and there are some conditions whether we can use that formula or not, because for all the withdrawals we cannot follow, we will not be in a position to follow, that is average period method, because there should be some conditions to be fulfilled to follow, that is average period method. What are those conditions? First one is the withdrawal should be uniform. First one is uniform withdrawals. Second one is interval should be same. Interval between each withdrawal should be same. What do you mean by this? These are the two conditions that are to be fulfilled to follow average period or shortcut method. Uniform withdrawals means if first withdrawal is of 5,000, all the 12 withdrawals or all the 4 withdrawals, if it is a quarterly withdrawal, should be same, 5,000 each. There should not be any change in the amount withdrawn by the partner. That is, if it is first withdrawal will be of 5,000, second withdrawal 4,000, third withdrawal 2,500, again fourth withdrawal may be 7,000. In this case, we will not be in a position to follow shortcut method, because withdrawals are not uniform. The amount of withdrawals are not the same. Then accounting period, that is average period method, cannot be followed, right? Then second one is there should be equal interval, that is a time gap between all the withdrawals should be same. That is what I mean. Suppose first withdrawal was made on 1st April, year starts from 1st April and ends on 31st March of the next year, suppose. Then first withdrawal is was on maybe 1st April, then second withdrawal should be on 1st May, 1st June, 1st July, 1st August, like that. The period of time gap between two withdrawals should be same. That is, all withdrawals gap, the withdrawals between all the time gap between all the withdrawals should be same, that is 1 month. First of every month means every month there must be withdrawal on first day, or it's a middle of each month on 15th or 16th, isn't it? Every month there should be withdrawal. Or end of the month, maybe that is January 31st, February 28 or 29, March 31st, April 30, like that. On the last day of the month there must be withdrawal. So the time gap between each withdrawal should be same. Don't get confused with the closing, that is a date 31st, 28, 31, isn't it? Then again 30, 31, like that. If it is like that, then don't get confused. End of the month means the end of this month and end of next month period is time gap is 1 month. We take it as 1 month. Don't count the number of days there. Then you will get confused. Okay. So that is the first point to be noted here, and interval should be same. Those two conditions must be there. I will give you example. Mr. X has withdrawn rupees 5,000 at the beginning of each month throughout the year. Here average period can be followed because the time gap between all the withdrawals is same and the amount withdrawn is also same, 5,000 each, right? So that is the average period method. What is the formula then? Amount withdrawn into rate of interest, rate into 1 unit of time, 1 unit of time. That is what you have to do here. That's all. Is it? 1 unit of time. Correct. No friends, it is not 1 unit of time. 1 unit of time you are following under product method. Remember this, 1 unit of time you are following under product method, not specific period method. Under product method, total withdrawals into rate of interest, isn't it, into 1 unit of time. Here you have to make sure that at the beginning of each month, there are 3 cases. Beginning of each month, then the first case you have to calculate for 6.5 months. 6.5 months. In the middle of each month, then you have to calculate for 6 months. End of each month, at the end of each month, then you have to calculate for 5.5 months. So that is what you have to do here. Sir, from where did you get this? Isn't it? You simply remember this enough, otherwise you will get confused. How did I get it? I will explain. Okay. So let me make it very clear to you. Suppose at the beginning of each month, isn't it? So at the beginning of each month means 1st April, 1st May, 1st June, 1st July, 1st August, 1st September, 1st October, 1st November, 1st December, isn't it? Then 1st January, 1st February and 1st March. How many withdrawals are there? 12 withdrawals, right? If you count it, 12 withdrawals are there. Throughout the year there are withdrawals. Suppose let us assume, yes. Then here from 1st April to end of the year, that is end will be 31st March will be the end. This is the end of the accounting year, and year starts on 1st April, and on the first day itself there was withdrawal, so there is a time gap of 12 months. Am I correct? 1st April to 31st March of the next year, there is a time gap of 12 months. Here how many months? 11 months, 10 months, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, right? Now take the total of this. How much it is? 6, 18, 29, 39, 48, 56, 63, 69, 74, 478. Am I correct? 78. So time gap is 78. 78. Now, what you have to do is 78. So you have to take how many months here, that is divided by how many months? 12 months, right? 12 months. How many months are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 if you count, 12 months. And total time period is, that is 78 months if you take the total of this, right? So divide 78 by 12, how much you will get? 6 is 72, isn't it? Point, how much? How much remains here? 6 remains, right? So 0.5, 6.5, you got 6.5. Am I correct? 6.5 means 6.5. At the beginning of each month, I took it as 6.5 month. It is correct, right? Yes. So now let us move on to the next one, that is in the middle of the month. In the middle of the month, see, I took 6 months. If you take, then you will get the same thing, that is 11.5 month, 10.5, 9.5, 8.5, like that. If you add it together, you will get one figure. I think it is, yes, you will get 72. 72 you will get the total as 72. If you divide 72 by 6, 12, I'm sorry, 72 by 12, it will be 6. It will be 6. So I took it as 6 months. Take at the end of the month, this will change, isn't it? Entirely it will change. That is, let me show it how it is. Take, first withdrawal was on 30th April because end of the month, right? 30th April, then May, 31st May, isn't it? June 30th, July 31st, August 31st, September 30th, like that. If we take, then from 30th April to 31st March of the next year, how many months? 11 months, right? Then 10 months, 9 months, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Because not 1st March, it is 31st, it is 31st March, 28 or 29 February, isn't it? Here 31st January, here 30th April, here 31st May, 30th June, 31st July, 31st August, 30th September, 31st October, 30th November, right, and 31st December. So this is what the withdrawals are during at the end of each month. Mr. X has withdrawn rupees 5,000 at the end of each month. So this is the condition. So if you add this together, how much you will get? You just count it. 3 plus 11, 14, 24, 33, 41, 48, 54, 59, 63, 66, correct? 66 total. Now divided by the total number of months. How many months are there? 12, right? 66 divided by 12, 5.5. That is 5.5. Am I correct? Yes. So I took it as 5.5, 6 months, 6.5 months. Understood now how to take it. If you get confused, calculate like this. Your problem will be solved. No confusion at all. Clear? Yes. So we have to take 6.5 months as time period for calculation of interest on drawings if the withdrawals were at the beginning of each month. Beginning of each month. If the withdrawals were in the middle of each month, then take 6 months as the time period. And if it is at the end of each month, isn't it? Take 5.5 as the time period. So that is what you have to do here. Very, very simple, friends. No confusion at all, right? Yes. let us solve one problem. Simple problem I will solve. Let us solve that problem under all the methods. We will assume all the three cases. I will write the problem. Mr. X has withdrawn rupees 5,000 at the beginning of each month, and interest on drawing should be charged at the rate of 10%. At the rate of 10%. Year ends on 31st March of next year. Let us take it as 2019. Year has started on 1st April 2018, and year ends on 31st March of the next year. Withdrawals were 5,000 and interest on drawing should be charged at the rate of 10%. Now let us follow the average period method. When you get problems like this, you can follow average period method. If nothing is mentioned in the problem, if they mention specifically product method, you have to follow product method only, not average period method. Remember, if they tell you to calculate interest on drawings straight away, then follow average period method. Or if they specifically inform you to solve the problem under average period method, you have to, isn't it? So let us take up this. Let us assume the first case, withdrawals were made at the beginning of each month. First case, right? Beginning of each month. How you will calculate? 5,000 every month. How many withdrawals were there? 12 withdrawals. Very simple. See, you have to multiply it by 12. Don't forget to multiply because it is monthly withdrawal. So for the entire year, the withdrawals will be 5,000 into 12 into percentage interest rate. It is given as 10%. For how many months we have to calculate? We have already analyzed that, isn't it? 6.5 months. How to write 6.5 months? Either you write 6.5 because you have calculator, you can easily calculate. Actually, the system is to write, how to write 6.5, 13 by 2 into 1 by 12, because 6.5 months out of 12 months. How will you write 6 months? 6 months? 6 by 12, right? So here 6.5 is there, so you will convert it, isn't it? That is 6 2s are 12 plus 1 13. You will keep it as the numerator, 13 by 2 into, you have to divide it by 12, so 1 by 12 makes no difference here. This is how you have to write. Otherwise, straight away 10 by 100 into 6.5. You have a calculator, no problem. Do that, right? Now simplify this, you will get the answer. That is 60,000 here. 60,000 into 10 by 100 into 13 by 2 into 1 by 12. 12 ones are 5s are, right? 5,000. Yes. Then cancel 2 zeros. Then 2 5s are 10, right? So 50 into 5, 250 into 13. 250 into 13 is the answer. 3,250 is the answer. That is interest on drawings of Mr. X. 3,250. That is what you have to do here. Clear? If it is in the middle of the month, no worries friends, only this part will change. In the middle of the month, then 50,000 I will take it as, 60,000 we have to take. 5,000 into 12 into 10%, that is a given rate in the problem. For how many months we have to calculate? 6 months, right? Here no worries. 6 by 12 straight away. Don't multiply it by 1 by 12 again, because already we took 12 here. 6 months out of 12 months, right? Simplify it, you will get the answer. 60,000 into 10 by 100 into 6 by 12. 12 5s are 60. 5,000, right? Cancel 2 zeros, 50. So 3,000 is the answer. So therefore interest on drawings of Mr. X is rupees 3,000. Rupees 3000, you have to write it. Clear? So, you have understood how to solve this. Most probably you will get a problem either on average period method or on the product method, mostly in board exam. Because they are very important, both of these are very important figures. Now, at the end of the month, let us calculate 5000 into 12 into 10% into how many months we have to calculate? 5.5 months, right? 5.5. So, 5.5 means how to write? 11 by 2 into 1 by 12. That is what you have to do. Simplify this, you will get the answer. So, that is how you have to calculate interest on drawings under, that is average period method. Average period method. Now, let us move on. Next part is if it is quarterly withdrawal, if the withdrawals were made in a quarter, each quarter, during each quarter. What do you mean by a quarter? Quarter means that is a period of 3 months, isn't it? Once in 3 months, if withdrawals are made, not every month, not during every month, once in 3 months, if withdrawals are made, then what will happen? How many quarters are there in a year? There are 4 quarters, right? If we calculate April to June, then July to September, isn't it? Then October to December, January to March. These are the 4 quarters in a year, accounting year I am speaking, right? So here they will ask you problem, they may ask you problem, that is quarterly withdrawals also. No worries friends, very simple, don't worry about that. Here first quarter, at the beginning of each quarter and at the end of each quarter they will say, they will not give that is the middle of each quarter, clear? So at the beginning of each quarter, then I will write here, first quarter starts from 1st April, so at the beginning of each quarter means 1st April, right? Second withdrawal should be at the beginning of second quarter. I will divide here April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So these are the 4 quarters friends. This is first quarter, this is second quarter, this is third quarter, and this is fourth quarter. Is it clear? 4 quarters. So at the beginning of each quarter means 1st April, 1st July, then 1st October, 1st January. Very simple. So you do some rough work like this in your board exam on the last page. No problem. Right? Yes. Then at the end of each quarter means 30th June, 30th September, 31st December and 31st March. Very simple. Right? So there are 2 cases, at the beginning of each quarter and at the end of each quarter. Now it is given at the beginning of each quarter, 1st April, right? Then second withdrawal will be on 1st June, right? Then third withdrawal will be on 1st October, last one will be on 1st January. 1st January, right? Yes. This is a period of 12 months, isn't it? 12 months. This is a period of how many months? 9 months. That is 1st April to 31st March, 12 months. 1st June to 31st March, 9 months. 1st October to 31st March, 6 months. And 1st January to 31st March, 3 months. Add these together. 12 plus 9, how much? 21 plus 6, 27 plus 3, 30. 30, right? So 30 months, that is what we did here. Then, how many withdrawals are there? 4 withdrawals are there, correct? Divide this 30 by 4. Divide this 30 by 4. This is the total of the time period. Total of the time period. Divide this by the number of withdrawals. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 withdrawals are there in the year, during entire year, correct? So 4. How much it will be? 7.5. Yes, 7.5. 7.5. Formula will be, what is the formula? Yes, oh, come on. 5,000, let us take 5,000. How many withdrawals? 4 withdrawals, correct. Into 10% rate of interest into 7.5 month. 7.5 month. 7.5 month means 7 2s are 14 plus 1, 15. 15 by 2 into 1 by 12. Or instead of writing this, you just write 10 by 100 into 7.5. Done. Very simple. Don't make it complicated. Calculator is there, you can easily calculate, isn't it? 2 plus 2 means 2 plus 2, you will press the calculator. So, no worries about that, you are very expert in using the calculators, right? So, calculate for 7.5 months. So, this should be the formula. Whatever amount you will get, that is the interest on drawings, friends. Don't you think it is very easy? Yes. Don't make it complicated. Very simple. Then, next one is at the end of each quarter. At the end of each quarter, I will write here. End of each quarter means what? First quarter ends on when? June 30th. Am I correct? Second quarter ends on September 30th. Third quarter ends on 31st December and last quarter ends on 31st March. All right, here 30th June, 30th September, 31st December and 31st March. These are the 4 withdrawals at the end of each quarter, friends. Remember, 30th June to 31st March of the next year. What is the time gap? What is the time gap? It is a period of 9 months. Right? Here 6 months. 30th September to 31st March of the next year. There will be a time gap of 6 months. Don't count September 30th I am speaking. So count from October, November, December, January, February, March. Isn't it? 6 months. 6 months. Here 3 months and here 0 month. Because 31st March to 31st March means 0 month. Don't write 1 month. Okay? It's a 0 month. Add these together, friends. 9 plus 6, 15 plus 3, 18, right? 18. Divide this by how many withdrawals are there? There are 4 withdrawals. Correct? 4 withdrawals divided by 4. How much it is? 4.5. Am I correct? 4.5. Now, how to calculate interest on drawings? Let us take 5,000 is the amount withdrawn at the end of each quarter. 5,000 into how many withdrawals are there? 4 withdrawals into rate of interest given in the problem as 10%, suppose, into for how many months? 4.5. 4 2s are 8 plus 1, 9. So 9 by 2 into 1 by 12. 9 by 2 into 1 by 12. That is what you have to do here. Very, very simple problem, right? So this is how you have to calculate if it is given as quarterly withdrawal. Quarterly withdrawal. Don't get confused. Very, very simple. Don't make it complicated. So this is quarterly withdrawal, how you have to calculate. They may give problem on this also, maybe. Can't say. Because question paper setter has full authority to give question from any corner. but it should be within that syllabus, that's all. Need not be, you have to give only this problem from this chapter. No, it is not like that. They have the sole authority to give questions from any corner of the chapter. But they should follow the blueprint, that is the only thing. Clear? Yes. Now, let us move on to the next part, that is interest on drawing calculation is over here. Now, I will move on to the next part, that is profit and loss appropriation account. What is profit and loss appropriation account? Yes. Then we will have only one part left here, that is guarantee of profit to a partner. With that, this chapter comes to an end. Okay. Then we will solve problems. Make sure that in offline class, when the class starts, then we must be in a position to solve the problems of each and every chapter. I will call each one of you. I will give a problem. I will call some students to solve it, and you must be in a position to solve that problem, so that if there is a proper practice, definitely you can score very well in the board exam. Practical paper, you have to do practical work more than that is reading. Reading will not help you in accounts. It will not help you. You may understand everything while reading. You may think that is working out the problem is a waste of my time. I will read and I will understand it, and in the examination I will solve. There you will go wrong, friends. I am telling you, everywhere you will stuck. Sometimes it may so happen that you know how to solve the entire problem, but you never know which columns are to be drafted. You will forget, and ultimately you will think and you will do something. Clear? So make sure that you will follow the instructions given by your teacher. Yes. Now, what is profit and loss appropriation account? Profit and loss appropriation account. Students, I will not go in detail because in my regular class video everything is very clearly explained, and I gave you clear notes also. But I will touch here the main things, what are to be stressed, those things only I will touch here. Profit and loss appropriation. It is an extension of the profit and loss account. That is, after preparing profit and loss account and after arriving at the net profit, we will prepare profit and loss appropriation account. Clear? Yes. Profit and loss appropriation account is an account which is prepared by the firm. Remember, it is the firm's account and not partner's account. So make sure it is prepared on behalf of the firm, that is it is firm's account and not partner's account. Like partner's capital account, we will write whatever is to be payable to them will enter on the credit side, and whatever is to be recoverable from them will enter on the debit side of their account, right? But this is prepared by the firm and is firm's account and not partner's account. Keep this in mind first. And profit and loss appropriation account is prepared to account for the, that is, adjusting entries, not the regular entries. Capital and all these things will be entered in the capital account. All other items that are to be payable to the partners will be entered in the partner's capital account. But the adjusting entries like interest on capital, interest on drawings, or salary, commission, or anything to be payable to the partner, or anything to be recoverable from the partner, will be entered in the profit and loss appropriation account. And it is just like a ledger account. It is a ledger account itself. That is, it will be drafted in the T form, isn't it? Here, debit side, this is debit, and this is credit side. Then we will record all the entries on the debit side and credit side here. That is, all the amount to be payable to the partner. Remember, friends, all the amount to be payable to the partner will be entered on the debit side, and all the amount that is recoverable or receivable from the partner will be entered on the credit side. and this account gets opened with the profit and loss account, not by balance brought down. Don't write by balance brought down. That is not the way of opening profit and loss appropriation account. I told you this gets opened after preparing profit and loss account. I mean, the profit and loss account will be closed by transferring the net profit to profit and loss appropriation account. So profit and loss account will be like this, not company account I am speaking about a sole trader or a partnership, isn't it? Here you will enter all the incomes on the credit side and all the income expenses on the debit side. Ultimately you will balance it. You will see which side is greater, isn't it? Whether there is profit or loss. If credit side is greater, income is more than the expenses, profit, you will get here difference. If the expenses are more than income, you will get the difference on the credit side, correct? So let us assume there is a profit, income is more than the expenses, and you got the net profit here, maybe 5,000. 5,000 net profit you have got, and you wrote the total here, both the sides you have balanced, and the difference is 5,000. Here you will give the entry to profit and loss appropriation account, transferred balancing figure. That is what you will write here. Are you getting me? So profit and loss account will be closed not by transferring it to capital account, by transferring it to profit and loss appropriation account. If there are any appropriations, if there are no appropriations, no doubt to capital account, If there are any appropriations to be made from the profit which is payable to the partners, then we will prepare profit and loss appropriation account. So the balance will be transferred to appropriation account. Clear? So we will write here to profit and loss appropriation account. So journal entry will be profit and loss account debtor. See here friends, profit and loss account debtor to profit and loss appropriation account. So profit and loss appropriation account, gets opened by profit and loss account. That is what we do here. That is the reason I told you, don't write by balance brought down, write by profit and loss account. Because this account gets opened by transferring the final balance in profit and loss account to profit and loss appropriation account. Profit and loss account debtor to profit and loss appropriation account. Here profit and loss appropriation account is credited by profit and loss account. Is it clear now? Yes. So you will write here 5,000. Then you will enter all the incomes. Only one thing will come, only one item will come on the credit side if it is given. Interest on drawings. Interest on drawings. Friends, remember, they may give drawings amount also. During the year, Mr. X has withdrawn 50,000 and Mr. Y has withdrawn 30,000. And interest on drawings being 3,000 of X and 2,000 of Mr. Y, they may give in that way. But remember, here you are not supposed to enter any drawings amount. Amount drawn will go to capital account, friends. It will not appear in the appropriation account. So you should remember that those information is given to confuse the student. They give these items just to confuse the students. Drawings amount is given by mistake, isn't it? Student may enter it on the credit side by drawings, then by interest on drawings, your answer is gone. You may lose 2 marks for that. Because final answer will be wrong. So 1 mark deducted. Here you wrote wrong entry, isn't it? 1 mark again deducted. So total 2 marks you will lose. Instead of 6 you will get 4. So be careful. Capital items, that is drawings, will go to capital account, and interest on drawing, adjusting entries only will appear in this. Again, they may give you capital balances of the partners maybe 40,000 and 30,000. In that case also, don't enter capital balances here. Mr. X and Y started business with the capital of rupees 50,000 and 40,000 respectively. Don't write that 50 and 40 because that is the capital balance will go to capital account and not appropriation account. Here only adjusting interest like interest on drawings, interest on capital, interest on loan, isn't it? Commission, salary payable to the partners will be entered here. So by interest on drawings, Mr. X, Mr. Y, whatever it is, the amount given, you should enter. Remember regarding interest on drawings, if amount is given, interest on drawings amount is given, then don't see the percentage and the amount drawn. Let me give you example. 5,000 is the amount drawn and they gave interest on drawing should be charged at 10% per annum and interest on drawings of the partner being 500 rupees, or they may give you 600 rupees. In this case, how much interest on drawings you will record here is the question. When percentage and drawings amount and interest on drawings amount is given, if interest on drawings amount is given in the problem, straight away take that amount, write here 600 interest on drawings and forget about the percentage and amount drawn. If you see this, then you will get confused because you will calculate 5,000 into 10%, 500. No, which amount to enter? Is it 500 or 600? 500, 600, 500, 600. You will chant some like mantra, isn't it? And you may do toss also sometimes. Pen you will put like this, isn't it? Then pen turns to your side, then this figure, like that. There are some students because they are not sure about the answer. So make sure if interest on drawings amount is given in the problem, forget about other things, straight away enter that amount and don't calculate the percentage. If this is not given, 600 is not given, then calculate and write 500. If all are given, straight away write the interest on drawings amount. Remember this point, very, very critical point this is. Clear? Yes. If drawings and interest on drawings percentage is not given, straight away interest on drawings amount is given, now write that. Write that interest on drawings. That's very simple. Then regarding interest on capital, I told you if there is profit, provide, otherwise no. If there is a loss, don't provide interest on capital. Correct? If after providing everything, there is some amount available, not the entire amount which should be payable as interest on capital. If interest on capital comes to 5,000 and amount available is, after deducting everything, amount available is 2,000, distribute this amount among the partners as interest on capital in their capital ratio, and not profit sharing ratio. Remember this, I have made it very clear in my previous video. Correct? Yes. Then enter all the expenses of the firm. Amount payable to the partner should be entered on the debit side. Only two items will appear on the credit side. Mostly it will be like this, only two items. Clear? That is profit and loss account, net profit brought down within bracket, then interest on drawings, then to interest on capital. These are all expenses for the firm. Interest on capital to be payable, salary to be payable, commission to be payable, interest on loan to be payable, right? Expense to the firm. So enter all those expenses on the debit side and finalize, close the account and transfer it to the partner's capital account in their profit and loss sharing ratio. If ratio is not given, equal proportions. That is what you have to do here. I'll take up one small problem in the next class, and then I'll take up guarantee of profit to a partner. With that, I will close this chapter. Clear? Yes. You have to practice, friends, at home. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.